and welcome to another Coffee with Colin, and thank you for joining me. Commercial loneliness is not cool. There's a great phrase. Commercial loneliness is not cool. Delighted to say that a friend of mine, a businessman in his own right, David O'Neill, came up with that phrase, commercial loneliness is not cool. And I asked him, would he mind if I spoke about it? He said no. And we had a telephone conversation, and he expanded a little further on what it meant to him. He sees it all the time with his clients. And basically it is where those of us that are entrepreneurial who decide to step out of the comfort of the fur-lined mousetrap and leave the corporate world, at times find ourselves in a very lonely place. The entrepreneurial path is often lonely. The challenge with that is commercial loneliness is not cool, and it's not good for anybody. It's not good for the individuals. It's not good for their families. It's not good for society. It's not good for business. But it's also very real when, those of us who step out and find that the dream of being our own boss and being free to do our own thing is in fact replaced by the nightmare at times of being in business for ourselves and by ourselves and alone. I came across a phrase, the lonelypreneur. And it is oftentimes a very lonely path. We can't often talk to the people that are nearest and dearest to us. Part of the reason for that is because Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant explains the difference between the four players in the world of commerce. There's the employee, the self-employed, the business owner, and the investor, and they're all very different. Being self-employed does not mean you own a business. Oftentimes it means you own a job. And to learn the skills of becoming a business owner require an entirely different mindset to the skill set associated with leaving an employment to become self-employed. But that's where the loneliness can set in. Commercial loneliness is not cool. And so what do we do about this? Well, the reason we can't often talk to those nearest and dearest to us is because oftentimes they come from different quadrants, if that makes sense. If you're trying to build a business and everybody that you know in your circle have been employees all their lives, and their forebears were employees and their forebears were employees, well, it's very difficult for them to understand your drive to get out and do your own thing. And you really can't go looking to them for advice because they're not qualified. No disrespect to them, they're not qualified to advise you. What you need to do is you need to go and find somebody who's further down the path that you've chosen to tread. You need to find somebody who's further down the path who understands the language of the entrepreneur. If you're self-employed and you want to become a business owner, well, then you need to find somebody who's a business owner who's been there, done that, and who's willing to help. And do you know what I've found over the years is that when you start asking people like that, they're more than willing to help, because us entrepreneurs recognize fellow entrepreneurs and we want to see people succeed. So invariably, you go and ask somebody who's further down the path than you. You ask them for their advice and their help, and invariably the answer is yes. And then go buy them a cup of coffee and tell them where you're at, and then shut up, right? Tell them where you're at and then shut up and listen, right? You need to tell them where you're at. You need to tell them where you'd like your idea to go, and then you need to shut up and listen. You need to take their advice, because they'll give you advice. They'll tell you, well, do you know what? When I was where you are in your journey, this is what I found and this is what I did about it. And that's so powerful. So commercial loneliness is a thing, and commercial loneliness is not cool. And the only way to battle commercial loneliness is to surround yourself with people who understand the language of entrepreneurship, where there are no guarantees. There are no guarantees in life anyway, but people unfortunately are tied into this paradigm that the corporate job is safe and secure. No, it's not, because the world is changing, right? And as soon as the world changes sufficiently and your services are no longer required, well, then the corporate gig will just, poof, gone in a puff of smoke overnight. So the only thing that you can be sure of is you. The only thing that you can be sure of is you. The only person that you can bet on is you. But don't battle it alone. Don't stay out there in a place where you're feeling lonely as an entrepreneur. We all put on a brave face. People ask us, how's business? Sure, it's great, flying it, right? And we're lying through our teeth, and we get up in the morning, slap on the gritted teeth smile on our face, and out we go to do battle again. Not really the way to live, is it? We tell lies to ourselves, we tell lies to those around us. We can't tell our accountant what's going on, we can't tell our bank manager what's going on, we can't tell our spouse what's going on. And so we hold it all to ourselves. So what we need to do is find trusted people who understand the journey, trusted people who are on the same path. And we need to get together with them and have them become our tribe, have them become our family, have them become our cheerleaders, have them become our challengers. We don't want yes men either and yes women either. We want people to challenge us, but we want them to challenge us from a perspective where they're further down the track than we are. And so their challenging isn't criticism. The challenging is genuine caring, asking the hard questions about what your idea is and where you're headed. And it's very interesting that David O'Neill gave me that phrase in recent times, because myself and Pádraig O'Malley, the smocked guy, some people know Pádraig as the smocked guy, and myself and Pádraig have actually set up a business which will launch in September, and it's designed to tackle commercial loneliness. It's called Aeroboard. And there's a link at the bottom if anybody would like to explore what Aeroboard is. But basically it's a device, it's a mechanism, it's a tribe, it's a family. And essentially what it's designed to do is create a safe space where people, entrepreneurs, can come together, share their journey and feel supported as they take those crucial next steps. So thank you for joining me for this week's Coffee with Colm. I hope and trust that ever you got something from it. Very importantly, consider what's been shared here today and apply it into your thinking for this next week. And then equally as importantly, come back next week and we'll share another coffee together and I'll ruminate on some other aspect of life and business. Between now and then, get some great coffee, get some fresh air, get some R&R. If you spend too much time alone, please go out and meet some people, particularly if you're a lonelypreneur. Go out and meet some people. If you spend too much time with people, do the reverse. Go back in and spend a little time with yourself. And then when the time is right, and only when the time is right, get your head back in the game, get organised the week ahead, get stuck in, make next week count, get support. I'll see you here this time next week for another Coffee with Colm. Sláinte. Love great coffee. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.